Schans. Zaanse Schans offers the true impression of life in Holland in the 17th and 18th centuries, with authentic houses, windmills, a tinware factory, a cheese and dairy factory, and many shops. Today, the 250-year-old windmills are still standing, and some are even in operation. The 5 biggest windmills in the world are over 130 feet or 40 meters high, and back in their days, they assured the gin production. There remains more than 1,000 windmills in the Netherlands. Most of them were originally built for controlling water flows. These windmills were used to pump dry hundreds of lakes and swamps and to prevent the land from flooding. How they did it is by pumping the water from the lowland over and above a dike into a river that was 1 or 2 meters above the level of the lowland, and this would eventually create new fields for farming. So these windmills are powerful machines and could fill up an Olympic-sized swimming pool in just about 2 to 3 minutes. Today, windmills are characteristic of the Dutch landscape and a symbol of the Dutch struggle with water. Did you know that nearly a third of Holland's country lies below sea level? If it didn't protect itself against the waters, half of Holland would be submerged. Making Holland a safe country was not easy. The Dutch had to fight for almost every square meter of land. Sometimes the people won, sometimes it was the sea. The Dutch have learned to manage their water, and they also enjoy it very much. Ship sailing is taught at a very young age and is part of growing up. As well, many houses have a car at the front of the house and a boat at the back of the house on one of the many canals which abound everywhere. So there is, of course, the beautiful coast, but behind it lies a fascinating landscape of waterways, canals, lakes, and rivers and boats galore. Here and there across the land, windmills still proudly stand. You can see how these wind-powered machines work. They are very powerful when being fed by the strong winds of the lowlands. Aside from water control, the windmills were also used to grind spices, to produce paint, to saw wood, and make oil. Today, some mills are still being used for drainage. Some grind grain, and some are converted as museums. The few mills that still turn are on the verge of losing power. With buildings around them getting higher, they can no longer catch the wind as they used to do. Could you dream of spending the night in a mill? In the old days, the windmill itself was home to the miller and his family, and he was a full-time figure in the managing of farmland and was needed there 24/7. When the windmill is in action, it has to face the wind. But how is this possible when the wind changes direction? Here is where the miller enters the scene. He rotates the whole structure so it will face the wind. The structure is made to pivot on an axe, and with ropes and cogwheels and a strong miller to push and pull it, the body of the windmill can be made to face the wind. Zaanse Schans is a trip back to the glorious years of industrialization for Holland and even for Europe, as these beautiful windmills brought a golden age of productivity for Holland. Indeed, there was a major invention in 1594 called the crankshaft that made it possible for the horizontal wind direction of the mill blades to be converted into a vertical motion, such as used for sawing wood. Therefore, many of the windmills became wood factories, which had the effect of increasing construction possibilities of all sorts. And so, Holland multiplied, amongst other things, its shipyards. This is how the River Zaan district grew into a commercial center for shipbuilding for all of Europe, with 26 shipyards, each producing between 100 and 150 vessels annually. As ships at this time meant commerce as well as foreign colonies, the Dutch West India Company was born in 1602, generating the next golden years for Holland. And so the little town of Zaanse Schans is a testimony of that era and lifestyle that led to the golden years of Holland. Create your own little town and color as many houses as you can print for a full immersion into the streets of Zaanse Schans, and then show and tell about the history of Holland and the windmills to your friends and family for the fun of giving a guided tour. It is fun to learn about culture, history, and architecture while participating in a creative activity such as coloring and paper modeling. So, enjoy it! Our next destination, Colmar, is near the frontier with Germany, yet it is in France, and it is on the Alsace wine route with the local vineyards specializing in Riesling wines. The buildings are half-timbered, medieval and early Renaissance, and very colorful. This is the country known for the excellence of their sauerkraut, also accompanied with local Riesling wine. But more on Colmar in our next episode. See you soon! À bientôt! Bye now!